Hey there, welcome back friends. This would be a very simple video where we will add a yet another method into our brand's resource, which will help us to track a specific brand using a URI. So let's get started. So definitely it would be based on get. It will again produce JSON. So let me again copy this particular part. The name of this method would be definitely get brand. So let us quickly add this up. So it would be like public brand entity get brand, and in here we will receive a brand ID because we will track the brand using brand ID, right? So that would be the case. All right, so this looks good. Let me also add in the return statement as of now. All right, now we will also add in a path param. So it would be like path based on brand ID. So it would be like slash brand ID. This looks good to me. All right, now let us call in the service layer. So the service layer will return an object of brand entity type, right? So we can do one small little thing in here. We will type in return service dot get brand, and we will pass in brand ID. All right, now this method is not available in our service layer, so we will hover upon this and we will create this method into our service layer, which is cool enough, nice. And in here we will again do what? We will call in the DAO layer, the usual stuff. So we have the object of the DAO layer. What is the DAO layer? Let me show you. The DAO layer is the layer where we perform the database related stuff, right? So this is the file where we handle the database related operations. DAO stands for data access object. So in here we will call in the DAO layer dot get brand. Again it would be like get brand, and we will pass on brand ID, and this method is not available inside the DAO layer. So we will again hover upon this error. We will create this method in our DAO layer. All right, so let me expand this. Now the business logic of this particular method would be rather very simple. Let me cut this particular part and we will paste it just after the get brands method. And let me do one small little thing. Let me copy in these two statements. So the first statement is definitely getting the session object, then we will begin the transaction, and then we will return the object of brand entity type, right? So it would be first of all creating a brand entity object. So it would be like brand entity brand. And now let us quickly get the information from the database. There is this issue. Let me update the return type to brand entity. That would be good. All right, so it would be like brand equals session dot get, and the type would be brand entity dot class, and we will pass on the ID, which is brand ID, of course. All right, and we are good to go. Now friends, this particular method will definitely return what? This method will return a object of brand entity type. We will return the information. Now in here we can either create this object and then receive this information in an object and then finally return the information like this. So this will fix the issue. Or we can skip creation of this object and we can directly cut this information and paste this in here and get rid of these two information. Again, this is perfectly fine. All right, so we have simplified this method and we are good to go, in fact. Now let us navigate to our resource. In here we have a method which will give us a information based on a specific brand. All right, so this looks good, and in fact there is some kind of error in this file which is showing up. Let me check. All right, so I guess we have forgot to add the return statement. This is good. Let me also quickly check the DAO file. All right, so now things are looking good. Now let me quickly run this application on the web server. and I suppose we will get a proper result. The home page is showing hello checks rs, which is perfect. Here is the file which is responsible for returning this hello checks rs. All right, so I have also like commented out the original logic and added this very simple message for home page, which is again good. And now if we navigate to Postman and check the list, so as of now, with this URI, we will get the entire list of brands which are available in the database. And here is the list, a huge list indeed. And for example, we wish to display a specific list, a list based on this particular ID only, ID 5 for example. So we will definitely add a slash and we will hit 5 and we will hit enter. And here is the list for a specific brand. So this is something which we have implemented in our API, right? So if I show you the entity, the resource, we have implemented this particular part where we were successful in implementing the business logic, which is nice. Now, for example, we wish to like return a location header for this specific resource. This is possible. Let me show you one small little thing. In here, if you guys remember, in our last video, we have created this particular logic where when we are adding some resource in the database, we are also returning the response, and moreover, we are also returning the location. Let me perform an operation quickly and show you how we will do that. So in here, for example, we add in a yet another value in the database. So let's post some value, and the value would be, for example, for brand 10. For example, let me send in. Now, when we are adding the information in the database, definitely we don't know what ID will be generated. So in here, if we try to add this information, the ID which is generated is 37. All right. Now, the status is also updated by taking help of our application. So everything is working good, but somehow if I show you, the location is not good enough. Location is based on the base resource showroom/brands, right? So we want the value to be /showroom/brands/ the ID, the fresh ID which we generated in here, right? So take a note of it. All right, so now let us navigate to our application, and in here, if we check, this is the method which is responsible for adding the resource in the database. But the location which we are setting is based on the absolute path, right? So if we check the header, the location is based on the absolute path. But we need to build the URI for the new resource which is created and then set the location in here. Now how to do that is something which we will check in our next video, because there are like couple of things which we need to understand before building the URI properly. All right. So this is it for today's video, and in our next video, we will deal with something interesting. Alright, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.